This is The Pinch, everyone, for those who don't know, and we're looking at EU RLCS today. Joining me is three lovely gents that are part of the Rocket League scene. One of them has become top 8 in Season 2 of RLCS. His claim to fame was an interview, and that is Sebadam down the bottom right. He was on Summit, and now he is back in RLCS in the top 16, mate. How is it qualifying this weekend?
Yeah, it's pretty good. But I was thinking about it, and we had I don't know if you know how to qualify for the RSSX, but basically there's 4 days of closed qualifiers.
Yeah.
And there's on day 3, there's a double elimination bracket. And if you get far enough into the loser bracket, there's another double elimination bracket if you lose. So you get 3 chances to make it into the top 32. And that's literally exactly what we did. We lost, we got to day 3. We won one series in the upper bracket, and then we lost to Dave, Glagflow, and Alex 161. We got to the lower bracket, and then we won or something, and then we lost, and then we had to wait until day 4 to play in the tiebreaker bracket, and then we lost, and then we actually won in the end, and then we qualified. So yeah, that's pretty lucky.
So we took the last resort to make it into the top 32.
Exactly, and the same in the Swiss as well.
True. Also joining us, many titles on this one. He's the Airbus. He's the worst mechanical player in Rocket League. He's the guy who's been carried by Chauset for the last 3 years. And he's also one of the greatest minds in Rocket League in the world. It's Ferra. Mate, unfortunately a bad weekend for Oxygen with big expectations, but it's good to have you on the show. I guess, how are you feeling at the moment?
I don't know, not too great. We had as everyone expects, we had a lot of expectation coming into this weekend, and I think that kind of played in how we actually played, and we could not make it. I think the 3 losses we had were all pretty avoidable, but we, somehow the first one got to us, and I think anyone would have beat us on that day, because we lost confidence very early on. It was not tilt, it was just very difficult to come back when we were getting afraid to challenge and stuff. And I think any decent team would have beat us on that day. And that's what happened. The 2 wins we have was because the teams we faced were barely qualified teams, as they were not really at the same level that the team that beat us. So yeah, that was not a good weekend, but I think we learned. We quickly realized the issues and stuff, and we learned from it. And yesterday's performance was already way better. And we're gonna do some other changes. We have a lot of plans for this season, and it's only the start. So we were taking our time. So at least this failure happens at the start, so it helps us in the long run, I guess. So at least there's that, and hopefully we're only gonna improve from there.
It's still a great redemption story to come second in the first week of the grid. And I guess also some redemption for Liquid as well. We have our final guest, the best Jesse impersonator in all of Rocket League as well, Foodie. That's your entire introduction. Sorry, mate. But you guys also, Team Liquid, didn't make the top 16, but still had a bit of redemption coming in through the grid. So were there a lot of changes that happened between this weekend and yesterday?
I think we changed a bit, but it wasn't really much. I think we look back at the games from the weekend in RLCS, and we realized what we were doing wrong. And it's just minor things that lead up. There's so many chances for us to go through to the next stage, but sometimes those things don't happen, and you're just unfortunate, and you got to look at yourself and see what you could have done different as a team, and we did that. And then coming into the grid and then making the playoff stage, I think it's okay, but of course you want more. But for us, I think it's just about putting more hours in, and then hopefully the grind will pay off.
Can you illuminate us on one of the things that you guys have changed there?
Oh, it was mostly like just me. I think one of the things that I changed a lot was just not purposely playing as fast as possible, because usually that's one of the tendencies that I sometimes do under pressure, and that's on me to realize that in the game I didn't. And looking back at it, it's annoying, but yeah, it is something that I need to, myself. I still struggle with. I always struggle with it. Ferra knows it well too. But it's just me trying to be comfortable with how we're playing, and learning from it.
Well, knowing Speed, he probably played perfectly in his mind's eye, which is good that you... I guess for those who don't know, Freddy's a very supportive player, and he'll do whatever it takes to play around his teammates. Would you say... I'd say the Cux is the same. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, I think Cox is changing a bit though. His playstyle is changing since I've joined. He's more aggressive. He's more willing to go upfield and take a bump or a demo that's actually like really aggressive. Yeah. So yeah, he's a different player now, and I think he has to learn that as well. So it's a learning curve from all three of us, and I think that's sometimes where you see a difference in results. But the only good thing outcome from this is that we can focus on ourselves and just put the hours in, because I really think that's what's going to help us.
Yeah. And I guess for you, Sebadam, these guys had a lot of expectations and fell short. A bit disappointing for them, but what it's like for you, I didn't back you. I don't know how toxic that is. I had zero chance of you making it. I think you, as you said, you went through pretty spectacularly in the qualifiers. So what was it like for you when you managed to get through in the final hurdle?
Yeah, it was pretty good, but I mean, yeah, obviously, even if I didn't make it to the top 32, I think nobody would have really cared. So it's like we have literally no pressure. Like nobody really cares if we don't make it to the top 32. So we had literally no pressure. And wait, was the question about stage 2 or what was the question again?
No, I was just like, what did it feel like when you got there, when you actually succeeded?
Oh, right. Yeah, it's pretty good. I obviously didn't really expect it too much. But yeah, it's definitely good because we lost the first 2 series against Vitality and then and then Chalked it was. And then after that, just we lost to Chalked, which are not like a very top level team. We didn't really feel like that good about ourselves, so we just took a break from playing the game for a bit because we had to wait a long time for our next match anyway. And then after that, we came in with a fresh mind, and then we just won 3 series in a row.
Oh, it's actually it was kind of funny because you reverse swept through the series, and on the opposite end of the table, Freaky got reverse swept. I'm saying Freaky, I'm calling him out because it's just funny to mess with Freaky sometimes, but he got reverse swept to not make it into the top 16.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Yeah, I mean, he was playing really well, and they had some good results until, I'm not saying him personally and his team, until I guess everything fell apart very quickly. But it is a brand new format. I guess Ferra would be the best one to answer this one. But what did you think of the 16-team elimination Swiss?
I liked it. I mean, as much as we lost, and it didn't favor us because I spent the last 3 years having privileges and stuff. I was one of the top 8 or top 10 teams, and nothing would ever happen. Nothing close like that would ever happen where we would end up outside of the top 16 and not have a chance to play for the title anytime soon, or at least for the next month. But yeah, I still think it's a good format. I mean, I wonder if that's what they're planning, but because I think they announced that every split is going to be different in terms of format. So I do hope the top teams will get an easier road kind of, because I think some teams, like at least you could put I don't know, the top 4 team in the top 16 bracket, like top 16 Swiss.
Yeah.
Swiss format. I don't think it would matter much. It just helps because I think everyone knows, upset happen. Especially in this game, it's very hard to stay consistent, and especially when you play everything on one day. Every Swiss stage is on one day, and as we saw with us or Liquid, if you lose one series, usually it's because you're not playing that good, and it's very hard to come back from, and you can lose a lot. Like if we played 10 series, we probably would have lost 10 series against good teams that day, or like at least 7 or 8. And so it's something we're gonna work on, but it's also something the format could be a little bit improved on, because there is a lot of days of competition, but that's only if you perform really well, I guess.
Do you think that's a problem with Rocket League or a strength? The fact that, I guess, if you're versing a team, you might win 80% of the time or 80% of games, but you'll still have those days where you lose and there's major upsets. So do you think that's a more interesting part of the esport as a whole?
I don't know. As a player, I think it's not too great because you're constantly under pressure. Yeah, right. You're always thinking, oh man, are we really on the bad day?
Yeah.
Or like something like that. But I don't know. So that's why I think like maybe top 4, like the top 4 in terms of standings, could get a free pass to at least the top 16, because right now top 32, it feels weird to have, like, I don't know, Vitality proving themselves against top 32 teams, right?
Yeah.
It's constantly putting your seeding on the line, and you have only weaker teams to play against, and you're only supposed to win and win and win and win always, all the time. And it's, I don't know, at some point upsets will happen. Upsets will happen this weekend again, and like some RLCS team will go out this weekend very early, Saturday, and the next split the same thing will happen. Hopefully not to us, but there is RLCS teams that are gonna go out on day 1, and that doesn't mean they're not top 16 in the region. It's just that it's very hard to stay completely consistent over the course of one event like that in one day, and every team is catching up. Like, it's been 5 years that the game is out, so like players are catching up. There is not that much of a gap anymore in between pro players and bubble players. So yeah, it's very hard to get that 100% win rate.
I think it's also, there's I guess a conversation around the opposite side of that too, is that if Vitality are not playing in this top 32, right, and they absolutely crushed it this weekend, 3-0, very convincing throughout, and if you're one of the teams in the top 32 and you don't have to worry about Vitality, then that's also, I guess, beneficial to those lower teams.
It's a better team. It's a better thing, right? Because those like, that's one thing I also didn't like about the format, is how random the matchups were, right? Like, it was determined by randomness halfway through. Like, you have 4. I don't know if you know exactly how it works. It's like you have 4 different groups.
Yeah.
Say there's 16 teams. You have four groups of 4. So like the top 4 teams are in one group, and they're gonna play one of the bottom 4 teams. That's randomly, right? So if you are like one of the bottom 4 teams, and Sebadam, that was his case, for example, they have a chance to play. I don't know who were the top 4 teams.
You did play Vitality first or second.
Yeah,
round,
they play Vitality first round, right? But that was random. So like, they had a chance. Like, they had, I don't know, one out of 3, 1 out of 4 chances of playing another team than Vitality, but they drew Vitality. And if they drew anyone else than Vitality, they probably would have had a higher chance of going through. And like, if those top 4 teams are already qualified, they're gonna meet, closely, much more like close competition, and they're gonna be able to, not start with a 0-1 record already, and which kind of feel a bit unfair. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'll actually say that I actually think Sebadam's draw might sometimes be fortunate. I've been in a lot of Swiss tournaments with more rounds than 5 in the past and lost to the winner at the start, and then you make an amazing comeback because after that loss against a team that you can't play second, you can't play again in Swiss, you get some easier opponents, and you make your way back up.
Yeah, that's what happened. And there's like some other teams that had a very like tough schedule. I think Monkeys had to beat 3 RLCS teams to make it. They beat Liquid, I think, to make it, but they lost earlier to Barca and someone else. Like they had to face, like they drew 3 RLCS teams when there were a lot of other teams at each stage of the competition.
They're
And
also
yeah,
seeded quite high, right?
yeah, they
They're
were
like
seeded
seeded
quite. I
in the
mean,
middle of the pack.
they're one of the RLS teams, so they're
Yeah.
not too. So they were quite unfortunate, and they they were always respecting their seed, right? They beat the teams they were supposed to beat, and they lost to the RCS team, the team they beat Team Liquid. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's one of the downside is how randoms like the matchups are a little bit. But yeah, apart from that, honestly, I like it, and the fact that there is so many more regionals coming is just, at the end of the day, even if we didn't perform this weekend, we're gonna do better next time, and we have many more chances to make it. So.
Yeah. And a quick one for you, Sebadam. Does that, I guess for you, there's nothing but upsides to this format because previously, you would have had to fight just for your way into RLRS. So I'm guessing this is a preferable format for you too.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I feel like we got pretty lucky with who we got because we could have either gotten like Liquid or Fadeaway, and so it's literally just a random like who we get, and we luckily got the worst, well, the worst team.
Hey, throw that
And,
shade. I
yeah.
love it.
It worked out for us pretty fortunately, and yeah, it just gives us a lot more chances to get to the next stage as opposed to just one day to qualify.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good for us. Helps us a lot actually.
Fruity, do you miss the league play format? The playing every team over 6, 7, 8 weeks in order to qualify, or how would you compare this format to the regular league?
I like the format. It's just very punishing if you fuck up. Like it's very, very punishing if you miss out, like us and Oxygen. Then you can sit here for a month and think, what the hell just happened, and you have nothing to do other than grind the grid, basically, right? So
Yeah,
in that
and
case,
the grid
like,
is pretty useless. I'll be honest. The grid is.
yeah, it seems pretty useless. It's just another thing Psyonix like throws out, and then just say like we have another tournament, more Rocket League to watch. But I think the grid in general is actually good for the organizations and the scene because it allows the orgs to be way more involved in some degree that how they want to be involved with it, which I generally enjoy. But the RLCS format, like something like this, like week 1, and you play one game and you lose, and then you're like, okay, we can work on this for next week, and then you can bounce back, and then you can end up being a 8-1 record, right?
Yeah.
But now you have this, and you're putting yourself in a rough spot, and you just have to look for a month, and then you play it again, and then you just hope it doesn't happen again.
Yeah. Or maybe not advantageous for you, but obviously, I guess for everyone else or those who previously missed out, it wasn't, I have to wait a month. It was, I have to wait 6 months, and it was often career ending. Does it kind of feel fine for you, either like a month, or is that still like a bit too long on the sidelines?
I think a month is good, actually. I think 6 months is way too long, and especially in a game like Rocket League where it's so fast changing. This game has almost no skill gap between the players nowadays, especially in Europe. I don't know much about NA, but I assume it's starting to become the same. I think the mechanical skill is just the game has been out for so long, and everyone has put in similar hours now. So it is also a huge advantage to the bubble teams playing against RLCS teams in a tournament stage, and they have this many opportunities and tournaments to do it in. So they're gonna just learn and improve, and like I guarantee it in a couple of months' time, this team is gonna be all over the place with seedings and expectations, and it's really gonna show who is the most consistent team and who can adapt the best, because the meta is gonna change for sure, right? With this format, and it's gonna be interesting to see.
Well, speaking of the grid as well, you guys were talking about it's kind of useless, but I guess for you two, isn't it more important, I guess towards Ferra, isn't it more important now that you do well in the grid, considering your major points from real RLCS are lower?
It's a really good option. Like it's a good backdoor, I'd say, for us in case we keep fucking up in RLCS. But I think the main issue with the grid is it's I don't know, it's called RLCS the grid, right? Like the logo is RLCS and stuff, and it's like branded like that, I feel. Like at least how when they presented the format and stuff, it really felt like a huge part of the whole RLCS format, and it was great because every week you have something to play for. It's less important than the regionals, but it's still something. But then when you play it, you realize, well, the prize pool is not that high, but that's not an issue. The issue is that there is this whole grid system, and there is only one major spot given to it. And the issue with that major spot is that it's most likely not going to a grid team anyway. Like the top placing team in the grid, it's most likely going to be a team that qualifies for the major already. So that means and it's not going to be a grid team. The next non-qualified teams that takes it, it's going to be a regional team, like the next non-qualified team from regional that's going to take it. And I think that makes the grid way less important.
It basically means that there's no major spot for the grid, right?
Yes, that's what I feel. That's how I feel too. Like, it's very likely the grid spot is going to be like given away. It's good. So I mean, we play every week and it's good practice and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's you have to perform in regionals, otherwise you will struggle a lot.
Yeah. Sebadam,
But I suppose it's also a good chance for, like, let's say somebody like messes up their regionals like twice, then it's like, okay, they have the grid and that's basically their chance to get to the major. And then you get to the major and then you have the chance to get double points, which can kind of save your season, I suppose.
So that's the backdoor we have right now, right? We already have really high points in the grid, but there is 9 weeks, and I still feel like it's such a simple rule change to say, there is one major spot that's gonna go to the grid, one and only, but it's gonna go to the grid no matter what, and it's gonna make it much more important because then you're like, okay, so I have that many points. If all of the team above me qualify through RLCS, then I'm in the major. Right now it doesn't feel like it at all, and so yeah, you can play each week very, very 100% and stuff, and you're gonna be very focused and you're gonna try to win. It's very hard to win the grid, right? It's 16 teams, it's 9 weeks of tournament. I think that the top placing teams in the grid deserves something more than what they have right now, because 9 weeks of tournament, it's like more than what the regionals are, right? You play I don't know, like
6 weeks.
Well, you play potentially. Oh, it's 9 if you play in all 3 regionals in every single.
It's 9 days exactly. It's 9 days if you play every single day. If you perform in every single day.
Yeah.
So, but if you don't perform, it's only. I mean, you have to perform on the first 3.
Yeah.
For 3, right?
So then, is there a better format for the grid? I mean, I actually think that we're missing out on leagues. This is kind of like why I asked it before. I feel like as an esport, that having some leagues or a league at all is really important or like awesome, because you end up seeing how everyone stacks up against each other. You have these long formats that give you a real chance, and it's not like overbearing like it is playing 6 matches a week in one day.
I don't. I think like I just thought about it, but like I think maybe in the end, everyone is gonna probably play each other, right?
Yeah.
At some point in the season, we're gonna face each other somehow, somewhere in some tournament, and I just wish the grid was slightly more important. Even if there is no major spot given, maybe you could give a regional point to the top placing teams. Like say top 4 gets, I don't know, 100 points or like 200 points for the RLCS point system, because right now we have grid point system, but that's separate
Separated.
entity.
I mean, I feel like for Sebadam, like if you had a system, like just theory crafting off the back of my head, like that every month there was a league that ran over a quick month. You played 2 matches a week or something like that, and you had the chance to promote up. Maybe there's like 5 divisions instead of just like RLRS second division. You work your way up. How much motivation does that give for players that aren't regularly expected to be in the top?
Yeah, it definitely gives them a lot, because they can just they just have to play the games, and like there's a clear way to make it up to the top.
Yeah.
Like before, you have to wait like 6 months or whatever, and you'd have like these small tournaments like in between. But if you had like 5 divisions or whatever, like it's pretty obvious what you have to do. You just have to win, and you play matches pretty often, I would assume, in that theoretical format. So there'll be a lot to play for, a lot of motivation, and it's just a very clear way to make it to the top.
Yeah.
So it would be good.
Well, for me, like I was thinking that the grid, like hearing of it, watching it yesterday, I was thinking that the grid was kind of like a good in between, that good supplement, because I felt like there's not really enough action, in my opinion, on those RLCS days. And I think that might be that feeling just because you don't get to broadcast. There's tons of matches, but on broadcast there's still only 8 matches going
That's
on.
true.
But
honestly, I'm very I criticize a lot the grid, but overall the event run very smoothly, and if it's like that every week, it's a good thing to play, and it's 10k and stuff. It's a good event. I just wish that stakes were like slightly higher, because at the end of the day, you wanna play like it's taxing, right?
It's a lot of matches.
To play. It's a lot of matches. You wish you had some thought of reward for it a little bit higher than, because playing like that long of a tournament each week, like players are gonna be tired at the end of the month. I'm telling you that. Like it's not easy. It's not easy.
Well,
so for now it's great. It's just I hope that the stakes will be higher at some point.
This kind of also leads into something I wanted to talk about, is that on the broadcast, Godsmiller said that he hopes that RLCS teams will get some motivation, because a lot of RLCS players stopped playing the game once they made it to the top 10, and they get punished now by bubble players who are way more driven and motivated. Would you, I guess, probably best for Fruity to answer this one, would you, I guess, agree or disagree with that statement? Do you think that motivation's changed with the difference of the format?
I think some pro players are gonna be naive to think, and they can just do what they used to, and then they get beat, and then they realize, okay, I actually have to grind the game again like I used to. So they have to like figure out. I think they have to lose first, because that's the only way you're gonna learn from it. Because a lot of pros, they just go like very, very.
So this is why you've been grinding for so long.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been grinding with the stream, and then you scream afterwards, right? Are you trying to take a hit at me or what?
Yeah, it was a joke.
Yeah.
He's saying you lose a lot.
Yeah. No, but even if you lose a lot, right? Like I still feel like a lot of pros are still gonna realize that when they lose, they could grind more. But some players are just so good at the game that they don't need to like play that much.
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends on the person.
It's Josh Set, he plays 20, 30 hours a week, and that's when he feels his best.
Mm-hmm.
For Sebadam, you've been, I guess, away for a long time. You've come back a few times and streamed. You've come back and played in a couple of RLRS seasons, if I remember. I know you went and had a bit of a break to focus on study, if I recall. What kind of motivated you to come back in? Was it the new format that's got you grinding?
I mean, I was always playing the game, to be fair. Like I took maybe a 2-month break when I subbed for AS Monaco, but I was always playing the game. But it's because I wasn't in RLRS that people think that I took a break, like a longer break. But the new RLCS format definitely makes it a lot more motivating, I suppose. But yeah, I never really took such a big break, to be honest. Maybe 2 months max.
Are you working a lot harder now, or is it still just the same grind all the time?
Yeah, definitely a lot harder now, because you just have so many more opportunities. So why let that go to waste?
Yeah.
So I'm just playing a lot more than before.
So something previously, for those who don't know, RLCS teams pretty much exclusively scrimmed other RLCS teams. So at the moment, Ferra, are you changing what your scrim schedule looks like? Are you scrimming a lot more teams now?
Not really, but we play a lot of the field, which is something we really like. So it's not too different, because we face kind of the same teams, but there is a little bit of good bubble teams in the field in Division 1, and we are using it quite a lot, and we've been really liking it. so far. So
Do you think that the
don't
field
know,
should have
yeah.
just been here forever, basically?
Yeah, honestly, it's long overdue, I'd say. I'm glad it's here because it's a good change of pace in terms of practice. So now, like basically our schedule looks like, you know, we do one scrim of kind of warm up against RLCS quality teams, and then we play, I don't know, 1 or 2 series of the field if we can get some matches going, and it's great because you know, scrims you play 1 hour, but there is no stakes. Yeah, basically what I want to play is for stakes, right? It's pretty reminiscent to what I've said about the grid as well. And having this kind of little bit of stake in the field feels good. It's like you're gonna play a best of 5. There is a little prize pool at the end of the month. Uh, it's good practice because you're not, you know, before you like for 3 years, all we've done every day was, oh, we scream 1 hour against this team. Nice. We won 5-3. Oh, nice. We lost 7-1. Oh, nice. You know, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, only in LCS, the only thing that mattered was how you're gonna perform on the weekend, and nothing else. Like I remember Dignitas when they were that huge dynasty, you could smash them the whole week, like without them winning a game, and then they would come strong in the weekend and just destroy you, and it'd be like, well, nice. Like, what's this practice for? It's like, it's pretty. I don't know. Like teams, they tend to not take scrims very seriously, and I'm glad there is the field so that, you know, at least the team that are playing in it, they take it very seriously, and it's good, very good practice.
Yeah. You find the same, Fruity?
We haven't tried it yet. We're gonna try starting soon. Everybody looks to be enjoying it, so we're gonna be playing it a lot, like coming up, especially with the time we have now, not being in the stages anymore, sadly. But it's something that we're trying to switch from scrims to the field.
In terms of organizations, I think we'll go back to the fact that it is hard to be consistent as a roster at the moment in Rocket League. Not in terms of like being consistent in your performance, but just in getting those results. You can't expect even Vitality to come first in every tournament. They lost to Giants last night and came 5th to 8th in the grid. But especially, I'd say, not making the top 16 for a team like Liquid, who are known as one of the biggest organizations in esports and also only just picked up the roster. I've heard a lot of people speculate that that's really bad for the esport and it's really bad for Rocket League that such a big team is aiming for a championship win have knocked out. How do you think, Fruity, that it actually affects Liquid or the scene or anything? I disagree, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I disagree as well, because Liquid has been looking into the scene for quite a while now, and there's no doubt in my mind that they know how the scene works, and you don't go into a scene like Rocket League expecting to have a dynasty like Dignitas had, because it's never gonna happen again, especially now that everybody's so good.
Even during the Dignitas dynasty, they struggled in other tournaments, you know,
yeah,
coming second or third.
It's just something that the organizations know, and it's not like like. I think it comes down to the fact that the Rocket League doesn't have a lot of strategy, so there's not really like some strategy that's gonna change the meta, and you're gonna have a lead over everybody else for like a year that's gonna have to catch up. It's such a dynamic game and fluid game that having a dynasty is something really, really special, and it's most likely never gonna happen again. And in my opinion, organizations know this. That's why they're not picking us up for you know, having a dynasty. They're picking us up for various other reasons. So it's just tough for the players, because, you know, when you have an organization like Liquid, you really want to perform at your best and just, you know, prove to them that they made the right choice, and feel comfortable, you know, in yourself that we're doing this right, you know, because it's a bit of pressure, you know, having an organization behind you like Liquid, but it's good pressure because it gives you more motivation.
Yeah. What's the pressure from Oxygen then, Ferra?
What's that mean?
It means whatever the question is. Are you getting pressure? Like you, I mean, you didn't make top 16 either. You know, is there a
Yeah. Yeah, but I guess it's more because of the expectations that we set ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm very. I set very high expectations for me and for the team in general. I think you know that. So.
I mean, I think everyone does. You came in as probably the second strongest team in Europe, and you were the #1 seed in your group. So
Yeah,
it
we
is
were.
very showing.
Yeah.
Of Rocket League.
It's hard because you're gonna face. I'd say the main issue is that you're gonna face teams that do not expect to win against you. So they don't have the pressure, you know, like they don't feel the same thing that you do. You, like as I said earlier, you're playing to protect your seat, kind of thing. You're playing, you have something in your hand, and you're playing to protect it, and the other team is just trying to take it from you. And this is hard because you know it puts pressure on you, a pressure that the other team doesn't have, and they're like way more comfortable overall because they don't care if they lose. It's normal, you know. No one is gonna say anything about it. While if we lose, well, you know, people are gonna talk about it, and that's what happened. But it's something we are really looking to work on. I think not a lot of teams are right now putting resources into, you know, out of the, you know, mental aspect, and you know the reasons of why we feel this kind of pressure and stuff. And this is something like so that's going back to what I've said earlier. This is something we're gonna try to work on with people around us, and hopefully it's gonna show next regional and the regional after, because at the end of the day the end goal is winning worlds, and it's a long time. And if we can seize that concept, if we can, you know, get that head start over all of the other teams, then I think we're gonna have a big advantage coming up.
Yeah. And we are speaking of orgs, so I mean, obviously it's early days yet, but Sebadam is. Do you think it's maybe even a disadvantage in the new format to get in front of orgs because they not necessarily know whether you'll keep your spot, or do you think it's just an advantage to be able to get into that top 16?
What you mean if the top 4 get straight into the top 16?
Well, no, you just getting into top 16 is. Are you thinking that you have a better chance of getting an actual organization backing you now?
Oh, I see. It's tough to say because, I mean, when we lose, we have to, like, it's not like a league format where we confirm to play again next week or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, if we lose, we have to wait until the next qualifiers, which we can still lose and not make it into RLCS X. So, I don't know. I'm not too sure. Maybe,
Yeah,
I don't know, it's tough to say. I guess maybe there would be because like, even more chances to make it into RLCS X. So I feel like orgs probably want to like support bubble teams a bit more than usual now because you have more chances to make it in.
I think as a team, if you make top 8, you're gonna like, earn a lot of points, right? Like top 8 is kind of that threshold in terms of points, and if you can secure that top 8, you know, the next time LCS comes around, even if you miss out, you still have enough points that, you know, it doesn't really change a lot. You're still gonna be able to be in that qualification range. And I think that's what orgs are looking at, you know, teams that can qualify for majors and that have, you know, enough abilities to score points.
Yeah.
Because I think, you know, like if I had to guess, at least a third of the teams that qualified to top 16 this weekend, they're not gonna make it into the next top 16 the next time around, and maybe some will not even qualify into the main event at all. So yeah, I think orgs would be right to be cautious, but I think they're also, you know, if a team really performs this weekend, like an unsigned teams like, I don't know, Triple Trouble or Stormtroopers, you know, makes it really deep, like, I don't know, top 8, top 4, even win the tournament, then like orgs are gonna jump on it because it's a like huge chance to have, you know, a really top team immediately for like a very low price compared to what they would have paid before.
It'd be very interesting to see, I guess, Triple Trouble get finally picked up by an org, considering their lack of success at that for the longest time now. Now, Fruity, you and Ferra both, I guess this is another thing from Reddit, both were the two teams that didn't make it out of the top 10 of RLCS and EU, and also were the two teams that didn't have a coach. Now, I know Speed's words on getting a coach, and you guys don't want one. Do you ever feel like maybe you do want one? The coaching never came into it. What's your opinion on the fact that you didn't have a coach to this?
I think that for us, I think Ferra like talked about it a bit. Is like there's other aspects of this game to focus on than a coach. I think those are the things that you really need to work on and work towards getting instead of a coach. A coach is something you can get down the road if you feel uncomfortable not having one, or maybe it's going to add you that comfortability so you can perform better. But at the moment for us, I think it's more a mental thing than anything, and I think that's going to be hard for a coach to have that kind of impact that other professionals could have. So yeah, like we're like I don't we're still open to a coach, like if it comes to like, but at the moment it seems rather unnecessary, I suppose, for us at least. Yeah, we had a bad weekend in RLCS, but I feel like the grid showed that we know our mistakes and how to fix them as a team, and also it depends on what kind of team you have. Do you have a mature team? Do you have like, you don't need to have a parent that's gonna be like telling everybody to like calm down or like be mature and such, because I know that there could be issues for other teams and we don't have those. So in that regard, I think for us at least, there's other avenues to look at, and that's what I'm really excited to work with, because I think that's where you're gonna find the big gains compared to a coach.
Well, Ferry, you were saying you guys are looking for a mentality coach more at the moment, or you're
Yeah,
not
I mean that's what
getting a
I
coach
mean.
at
I know the message was in French, but when a long time ago we announced we were looking for a coach.
Yeah.
That's the primary aspect of who we are looking at. We are looking for someone that's gonna hype us more in the mental aspect than in the gameplay side. Obviously, if you can do both, it's great. But if we're gonna have someone with us, it's better be someone that's gonna hype us. Control our emotions and our confidence, and going into the games strongly, and with the will to show ourselves and the to play our game instead of just trying to out strategize the opponent, which is not. It's pretty irrelevant in Rocket League, I'd say. Teams have different playstyles, but it's at the end of the day, it's about how you like hit the shot on target. It's about how you put it in the fucking top corner, and that's about it, right? It's you have to. It's about execution more than strategy. It's not like many other esports where it's a lot of strategy and stuff. It's really about quality of touch. It's about confidence, about efficiency. And if you don't have those, then no matter how good you can be about strategy, you're not gonna win. And that's what we are gonna put the emphasis on.
Yeah, I think that also answers Propolis's question in chat. He asked if the mentality coach is for Astral, and that pretty much answers it. It's for the team. It's for.
And I think people I mean, I know it's a meme, and people vastly overestimate. Like they think of Astral too badly. He's not a bad guy. He's had issues with his team in the past, but I think you guys are blaming one very young guy for the mistakes of a whole team, and he suffered from it a lot, but with us he's been very great, and he's been performing very great as well. Yesterday he's been outstanding, and he's not as bad as people think. He's a good player, and he's helping. Even I think Freddy and Yemi knows that I can get frustrated.
Yeah.
Like there is times I get very pissed off about stuff, and he like, because even me had that misconception of him, that I thought he was very quiet, or very I don't know, like he could cheat easily, but that's not the case, and Yeah, when I get those time where I'm not happy at all. He's gonna be the one to calm things down because Shozal is not gonna say anything, right? But
No.
he is very, he will say stuff like it's okay, calm down and stuff. Like it's I don't know, it's funny because people they don't have this expectation of him because they don't really know him, and I think his streams it's pretty hard to pick that aspect from his stream, but he's not.
Mhm.
He's a very good guy, and it's sad to see how like people don't really want to look outside of the Dignitas drama that happened. That was not necessarily his fault,
He's very funny
uh,
and fun-loving as well. That's the
yeah. If you meet him in real life, like people will understand. He's not what people think he is. He's a very nice guy.
just like Sebadam. Sebadam, it's time to move on to our next part. This is the final, I guess, section of tonight because we're coming up on that hour mark. So it'll be quick fire rounds. I want to go over the European roster changes that have happened, mostly focusing on the really recent ones. And I think maybe Sebadam, you may know even some of these a bit more if you've been scrimming a lot more of the RLRS level teams. First off, I have a question though. Who are VENC Gaming? I don't know any single
Okay.
player on that team.
Yeah, they like that happened pretty recently. To be fair, like maybe like 2 to 3 weeks ago, Econ joined Cryptos and Catalysm, and Cryptos I think he was always under the org Venk Gaming pretty much, and he was also like he was always a decent player.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, weirdly enough, Econ is also like rising up really, really fast. Like he improved so fast for some reason. And when he joined that team, they just played really well. They played really well in like smaller tournaments that we played them in, and they always beat us as well. And it's just they just came out of nowhere pretty much, and they dominated these smaller tournaments, and then they showed up in the RLCS as well.
You expecting them to do well next weekend as well?
Maybe it's gonna be tough. I don't know if they're gonna make it to the top 8 or whatever it is, but yeah, they can do decently, I think.
I think they went through 3-1 this weekend. I don't have... actually, I do have the... What am I talking about? I've got the results right here. VNC Gaming,
Oh my
yeah, they
God,
went
the
3-1.
transition.
Yeah, it's just a fade. I accidentally threw up the grid results too because I was going to talk about them earlier, but we kind of touched on them. But yeah, VNC Gaming, or Venk Gaming, as you call it, went through 3-1. So certainly with a chance. For you, Ferra, you obviously have a lot of experience against Barca. How are they looking now with the touchy involved?
Weird. Inconsistent. Very inconsistent. They can be good, but they can be bad. I think yesterday showed it. I don't know why. Like I have not talked to Itachi about it since then. But like he's a good player. Like very good, very promising player. And I think they look miles better than with Flex. They're gonna be great, but they're gonna be. It feels like they're gonna be really inconsistent this season. At least that's how it feels at the start.
Is
I
that
don't know.
because of Itachi or?
Maybe I don't know. It's because of Itachi has no experience, so it's it's a whole new thing, and I think it's the same can be said for all of the new teams bringing on rookies. They are playing with that unknown factor that they're bringing in a player that they don't really know how he's going to perform under pressure. For now, I guess it's going great for Barca, even if they lost pretty early in the grid. I mean, they got first rounded, so. But yeah, they lost really early again in the grid. But at the end of the day, they still make it to this weekend, and that's what matters the most. But yeah, we will see this weekend. I think they can be great, and we've played them quite a few times, especially in the Grand Prix of Rocket Baguette. They are good. Like they can be really good on a good day, but I think it's finding those good days that are going to be hard for them.
Yeah.
If they're on a bad day, like it's an overused term, but it's very relevant at the moment in Rocket because teams still do not know how to manage those bad days. So if they are on one of those bad days like yesterday, they can be out very early, and Like they can be one of the teams that get upset tomorrow.
Yeah.
Is it tomorrow? Yeah, I think it's.
Yeah, tomorrow.
I can see them going out tomorrow, but I can also see them winning the whole thing, which I don't think a lot of teams in this bracket can. I think looking at all of the teams qualified, I think 4 or 5 of them at most have the potential to
Quick name them.
win the Vitality, BDS, Barca, Giants, and I'd say that's pretty much it.
Cool.
I don't think any other team can win that tournament. Maybe Dignitas and Top Blocks have outside chances. The rest and Triple Trouble, I guess, since yesterday, they have outside chances, but I don't see any one of the rest winning the event.
Yeah. Fruity, since I know how biased these French players like Ferra are towards their fellow Frenchies, what about Solary for you? Minus Melashisu plus Yukis. What changes that made for the team? Because they came in with a lot of, I guess, promise coming into RLCS, and then into this off-season time, it hasn't gone so well.
I think Melo was such an underrated player for them because he was just a solid striker, and that was the team needed. Like, he could. The thing that he was really good at was putting a shot in, and that's what the team needed. And then they pick up Yukis, which is kind of weird because all the drama with Rival Series. You know, like Yukis, like kind of being a bit weird under pressure with his old team Baguette squad, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they were playing like, they were losing like 1-15 in Rival Series, and they were like own goaling and not taking it serious. And then they pick him up the next season. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I think it was quite shady. But I think the thing is, the French has such there's so many good players in France. It's insane that if they found a team that they connect with and they mesh really well with, they could easily be a contender for a lot of tournaments. But I think we'll yet have to see. I don't know if they've peaked yet. Maybe they peaked getting into RLCS. I don't think we've seen anything special from them after that. So it's like, I think they still have a lot to prove for themselves. I'm not quite sure where I would put them, but they're quite an unknown factor for me.
Yeah. Sebadam, for you, Triple Trouble, adding Calyx. Obviously, it's been successful, but you would have versed them, I guess, a lot in the past. So, how's that changed?
What you mean, Triple Trouble? I haven't really versed Triple Trouble in the past, to be fair.
Okay, fair enough.
But Calyx, I've played with Calyx and like City fans and stuff.
Yeah.
To be fair, I didn't really expect Triple Trouble to do that well, if I'm going to be honest. So I didn't feel like that addition would be that beneficial, but I guess I was proven wrong. I don't know, it's just, I don't know, they have like Calyx and Tadpole who are both not super flashy, maybe not super aggressive, I feel like. So like Bluey has to do like all of the aggressive work potentially. But to be fair, Calyx recently has been playing a lot better and a lot more aggressive, I feel like, than previously, in my opinion.
I don't know, Tadpole has always been very aggressive there. He has a very similar rotation to me. He's always, trying to steal boost and stuff. Like, if you look at his rotation, it's quite high on the field. Maybe he's not very, maybe he's not gonna score a lot of goals, but he's looking to disrupt and create space, I feel. At least that's how he was playing against us yesterday, and that's very similar to how he was playing with the very old Triple Trouble back in RLCS. He's that guy that tries to disrupt and to do stuff you don't expect him to do.
Yeah, well, there's definitely, I guess, a lot of different definitions of aggressive too. Like, I mean, I even at one point thought that, Ferra was defensive. I think a lot of people out there, especially, I guess, non-RLCS casters, have called Ferra very defensive and Chorset very aggressive on the attack because they remember the big goals from Chorset. But, yeah, Ferra's the guy who's always in their half. Less so now, but always in their half looking for the demos and whatnot.
I'm probably one of
more
the
so
most,
now.
Yeah?
More so now.
Yeah, even more than 3D left the team. I have to create more space, especially for Astra, because when he has space, I think, he's the best player in the world. So what other teams can do? Like, if you give him space, it's gonna be very hard for the teams to defend. So I'm trying to get that, but like even before, I was like one of the most offensive player in the world, I guess. It's just
in terms
it
of being
doesn't
in the
show.
opposing third. I mean, a lot of people think aggressive players, like the guy up for the ball first, the guy like, making flashy plays for the most part, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just
yeah.
a misconception because
Yeah,
they
yeah,
don't.
I agree.
They have never been a part of a team where it's like you can be the most aggressive player, but you're never gonna score a goal, and you have 0 points at the end of the scoreboard, and then your teammates will have like 900 and 400, and then you'll sit on 100, and people are gonna be like, that guy is freaking useless, right?
I
But
mean,
you can
that's
be the most
because
aggressive player.
that's because the points are like
Mhm.
I don't know how they're badly calculated. Like
Yeah.
if you pick up saves, you pretty much have all the points. Like, saves you can like stop a shot going like 30 kilometers per hour into the net, like a simple front flip into it, and that's it. You have 50 points, and you can do that 6 times a game, and you have 300 points. So, I don't know. It's not really relevant.
Yeah. Fruity. So in Singularity, they popped off, and I didn't know who Hibbs was, but he was playing like really flashy, really well, scoring a lot of goals for Singularity. Do you think that he's a major part of that? That's obviously, I don't think it's technically like a roster swap, but that's God Smiller's change of roster overall. Have you played against Singularity much?
I've never played against the new roster.
I think you have
but-
Ferra though.
Just yesterday.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's just I think they're on a good honeymoon right now, and they're just full of confidence because they just when you pick up a new or you go new to with the roster and then you start having good results against other teams you don't expect to have good results against, it just builds that confidence. And that's the thing, like we talk about all the time, confidence in Rocket League is one of the most important and most powerful tools you have. And then you pick up a player with no expectations to do like hips, like he can just play like he wants and nobody's gonna judge him,
We
I've
got
seen him
clipped
in
on by
ranked.
Calix 10
Yeah.
times yesterday. Like he did a whole montage of his plays against us, and like he has like 1 minute video about just like 4 or 5 of his plays against us in one video. It was ridiculous, but yeah, we still won, so there is that. But yeah, they're pretty good. I don't know. We'll see how the season goes for them.
Do you think, does everyone think that Veloce / what are now top blokes are better to play against, less boring to play against now that they've got Archie on the team? No, still the same.
I think they're easier to play against now, in my opinion, but that's because I always I don't know. I always hated to play against the Veloce and I think Ferra too. So it's I don't
Yeah,
know. I
yes,
think
no,
the
I was really heated against them. Like,
yeah.
dude,
Every time we played
were like,
Veloce, it was the worst.
we were on the brisk of we almost lost, and I was pissed because the goals they were scoring that, and then they tweeted they were unlucky. I was like, dude, are you kidding me? All you did was banging on my backboard. Like, what the fuck? Like, that was crazy. They're a bit more. I mean, Archie brings more mechanical abilities and like unpredictability than Freaky brought, but they're still they still have the same core, right? They're still trying to boom the ball really hard from very far back and to cut every pass they can and to constantly do one touch very hard, and it's exhausting. It's exhausting. I don't like that at all.
Fair enough. Is there a team that you hate playing against, Seb? Just name out like a million teams. Just like, I hate Ferra,
Vitality.
I hate Fruity. Fruity's just the worst. I hate Fruity's
I can't really-
stream, but
I can't really think of any teams, to be fair. I just play bubble teams mostly, so I can only think.
So
Like
you
this
hate them
bank is
all?
annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, how
That's
does
just-
like so that means you probably have more experience against bubble teams than us. Like, I'd say who is looking good as a non RLCS team? Who would you say has the best? Even from the team that did not qualify for this weekend, like who would you say had the most chances to make a big splash this season? or something.
Maybe Minx potentially, but it's tough to say. I need to have a look at the teams real quick. So I actually forgot what teams they even are. There's just so many teams that could potentially do well, I suppose.
Bang.
I don't know. Wait. Yeah, it's tough to say really. I mean, Up Block. I forgot who was in that team again. I think it was Cynical. He was in that team again. The Up Block team. I think it was Cynical, Rise, and Oerly. I think it was. They can do really well. Like I think they actually won the Nice Cactus 1,000 euro tournament. So for like they're like one of the teams that could have done a lot better in RLCSX. They're definitely one to look out for because they're just so fast and they just don't really care. They just play the game as fast as possible, essentially.
What
So yeah,
about-
they can definitely them.
What about Magnifico? The fact that they went through with Greasy. I
Oh.
mean, that's an achievement itself, managing to get Greasy, a retired player, across the line, right?
Yeah, definitely. I didn't expect that whatsoever. I mean, to be fair, Atomic and Dementia are really
Yeah.
good players, and Dementia's really annoying as well. He just doesn't care either. He just does literally whatever he wants to do. If he wants to just mess around, he'll just do that, and just quit chat just spam his quit chat in game. Doesn't really care what he does. So that works out really well for
Even
them.
in
especially
RLCS,
in,
is he going to Twitch quick chat you?
I have no idea. Probably would.
I guess the one last team, one of the older ones before we say goodbye. Endpoint, bringing on Metanoris. It has been a bit of time since that. How are we feeling about that, Ferra?
I mean, at Endpoint, it's hard to say because Endpoint is not really about Mercenaries, right? Is it?
No.
The roster is based out of Virtuoso's brand new, unique playstyle.
Non-traditional playstyle. Yeah.
Yeah, to say the least.
I mean, that's just fruity, but extra.
I think they tried. I think they just tried to bring in the better player they could bring in, and they found Meta, which he's a good player with a lot of experience. He was on a downtrend recently, and I think this team helps him having a little bit more confidence because they have better results than he had over the past year. But yeah, I'm not too sold on them because I think teams are starting to figure out what to do against them. They're gonna be constantly up and down because I don't think they can ever win an event playing like that. It's just way too random. Like, it's way too random.
I have a question. Do you think that Meta made that choice based on the old format? Like, if it was the new format, would he made the same choice to join them?
I don't know.
Like, I always think of that, like the roster changes.
I wonder as well. I think Endpoint was very lucky to keep their RLCS spot in the first place because otherwise they would not have got him. That's for sure. And they probably would have disbanded. But because like you have Giants, right? Giants is a good team, and the new format is gonna favor them a lot because even if they didn't make RLCS, I'd say they're a better team than a good part of the RLCS right now. So it does, like, the fact that they didn't get the RLCS spot is not a big deal for them, but for Endpoint it was a big deal because it allowed them to probably keep the hog. I don't know too much about that, but it probably helped them keep the hog and also get the new signing in Meta, which is a way better player than Nashito is. So obviously they're gonna perform better on average. Would have he made? I don't know. Would have he had other options? I don't know. I don't know if he was very, if he had a lot of other options anyway. He probably would have made, a brand new team if he didn't have this option. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know if I really don't really talk to him, so
Yeah.
yeah, I guess you'd have to ask the guy himself.
Well, there's definitely, I guess, a lot of up-and-coming teams that haven't made changes too. I think Monkeys did make a change. They were Tree of a Kind for Fusion, so I was a bit of a fan of them, so it was good to see them qualify. Stormtroopers, I was a fan of them in Fusion as well. and they managed to make it. And I think that's a huge performance from them. They weren't that convincing in threes. They were more of a 2s and 1s team with apparently Jack and...
Yeah, they're looking better though.
Yeah.
Like when we played them in Fusion, they were good. So maybe it was just one day, you know. That's how that happens. But recently they've been looking better. I mean, they beat us in the qualifying match, and if I had to guess, like out of all of the, you know, non-RLCS RS teams, that's the one I would put money on to perform this weekend. I'd say they have a very good chance at making it to top 8.
Nice.
They've been looking quite good. Yeah, I honestly rate them quite high right now. They're pretty good.
Well, that's good to hear from a fan, or from me as a fan. As you said, Giants Gaming, they're certainly on the rise. And Triple Trouble as well, having just won the grid. They've proven this. I'm actually thinking, and this might be something that you could answer to, Fruity, that that winning the grid, based on the fact that maybe the grid's not so important as we thought, that could be a downside if they're now coming into the weekend maybe too confident with too many expectations on their shoulders.
Yeah, they could potentially, but I don't know how Triple Trouble works, and I've never played with any of the players. But I could, if they take a loss early, maybe they'll start, you know, questioning themselves again, and all the confidence is gone from the grid they just got. But I think they have the momentum, and I think they might actually pull it through to top 8.
Yeah, that weekend is going to be very important for them. If they do well, I think that can, you know, skyrocket their season. If they do bad, they're gonna start questioning their performance immediately. I'd say, like, it's still a good thing for them. Like, I think Tadpole tweeted he believed for a long time he was not gonna be able to make it back to the top. So I think this performance helps at least the whole team thinking, oh, we still have it, you know. But it's they still have, you know, to prove it again and again. And yeah, this weekend is really important for them, especially because they are looking for an org. So if they make top 8 this weekend, there is gonna be a lot of orgs interested. That's 100% sure.
Well, thank you guys for all your answers. It was excellent having you on. Some really great responses too, and I think especially when, you know, Sebadam, you've stopped streaming. Ferra never streams because he hates everyone in Twitch chat. Just spoilers for those out there. So always good to get your opinions, and I mean, Fruity we hear a lot from, but it's always nice seeing you, of course. And he'll probably be streaming. Are you going to be streaming later tonight, Fruity?
No, not today.
What today, Seb? You going to be streaming? No one's streaming.
No, not today.
I got to assume.
Viewing party tomorrow, please.
Viewing party tomorrow. Is that true?
Oh no, there is F1, right? There is F1. So.
Priorities, right?
Yeah, no, me too, man, me too.
Excellent. Well, Derpify would watch all your streams apparently, you know, but I feel like Derpify, of all the people I know, just has like 20 streams up all at once at all times. I see him everywhere. It's awesome. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. If you have some questions, we'll do a little bit of Q&A time. For you three, if you want to get going, feel free to